We're going to call to order the meeting of the Village of Sandalwood Lake South. It's a late meeting. It's April 30th, 2020. As everybody knows, we postponed our regular meeting on the 16th due to the COVID-19 situation. Okay, we're going to take roll call. Joe Costello.
Here.
Mary Lou Barnes.
Present.
Natalia Franklin.
Present.
And Chris Christoph.
Present.
And Larry Rocco's present. Okay, one bit of business we didn't take care of. Well, we're going to take the posting of the meeting. Randall, the meeting was posted in a timely fashion.
Yes, 2 weeks ago.
All right. Okay, now one point of business that we haven't done yet, and that's to approve the minutes of the annual meeting in January. Randall sent them out. There's nothing complicated about it, but we do have to formally approve those. So I make a motion that they're approved.
I second.
Anybody second?
I second. Natalia second.
No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Okay. I'm going to give my report, and then since Chris is new at the well, we're going to appoint Chris as treasurer, but there'll be no treasurer's report. Then Randall will give his report. As most of you probably guess, we have a lot going on in the association at the moment. We had a situation with a unit that was sold at a auction, and the documents protected us, and we collected $21,000 and some odd dollars. The buyer paid it and then immediately filed suit to get it back. Since this was in this a situation where our D&O Insurance, the Philadelphia Insurance Company, Rawson suggested we let them handle it rather than pay him to do it. Well, that's exactly the course we took. They ran up a $14,000 bill for which we have a $10,000 deductible and gave us very poor representation. They did not, and Rawson, by the way, for all those who think he doesn't do his job, uncovered the fact that they did a poor job of representing us. They didn't have, the judge ruled against us, which means we would have to pay the $21,000 back, plus the $10,000 deductible. Rawson uncovered the fact that they didn't have the information to the judge until the day before the hearing. Well, you know, when a judge gets information a day before the hearing, they don't even look at it. Because of that, he ruled against us. So now we have to file an appeal. The insurance company doesn't want to take an appeal because all they're looking at is getting it settled, and they don't care how much it costs us. They just want their $10,000. They gave us a bill of $14,000. So I told Rawson, we're not paying their $10,000. They need to file an appeal. And since they did a poor job of representing us the first time, the appeal shouldn't cost us anything. We'll pay the $10,000 once they get us a favorable ruling. So he's working on that with them. Now, the other thing is that we have the situation with the bank, as everybody knows what that is, and we're working on that. We're not going to go into any discussion on it, but there should be no problem with getting that resolved. Now, as far as what's going on with our accounts. I wanted to get an assessment on what's going on with the monthly assessments from the homeowners due to the COVID-19. Now, I see nothing in what I got from Rawson and Jeannie that indicates anybody who's late is new at being late. We have people that are late habitually. We have 10 counts in collections. We have, after tomorrow, we'll have 3 with foreclosure liens on them. And we have 10 that are, no, we have 12 that are delinquent, anywhere from $279 up to as high as $2,788. And we have several in the middle at $1,300, $1,600, and $1,700 and $2,000. Those have all received demand letters. Some have received second demand letters, and some soon will be going into a collection account. So nothing new as a result of COVID-19 that we're late on. As I say, the ones that are late have been late.
I would like to be recognized at some point.
Go ahead, Chris, go ahead.
I had very, very extensive conversations with Jeannie on the phone and through email over the last 2 days, trying to back compile the financial documents, some of which don't really accurately track a lot of the homeowners that are behind schedule. And I'll let Jeannie explain this by quoting from her email that we had yesterday, when she was asked if we could run through the calculation that we were using to figure out how many additional net homeowners didn't pay the April assessment versus the March assessment. And it says, quote, 41 less homeowners paid in April than in March. I think that is what you're looking for as far as a corona effect. There is a significant deficiency, and part of the reason for this is because when you look at the budget document for assessments, it's done on an accrual basis, as we mentioned, we were talking about prior to this. So it will show as an accurate collection, even if the money has not actually been received by the association. And that's part of what I spent all day yesterday with Jeannie working on, is the reconciliation between the accrual funds that show in our accounts and the actual cash on hand. But we have a significant, it's almost an 8% increase. It's 90%.
Well, I'm looking at Jeannie's report that she sent me yesterday, and everything on there shows more than anything that shows $351 late shows that it's been late for 30, 60, and over 90 days.
Right, because
No.
the reason that is because Jeannie runs those reports at the end of a fiscal month, and so as a result of that, anything that's done between the end of March the 20th and onward would not be reflected in her report. Which is why I had to call her yesterday, because we had to start working on in advance of the numbers that would be reported next month in April for that report, because it doesn't show. And so the report that you have, I've been through all these documents for almost days now. The report that you have uses the numbers that are ending March on 20th, and that's prior to when any of this would have been. Well,
she shows through April 30th on the report I have.
But
Right, but that's not the same as the
reality.
There's a difference between the aging of the report and the actual reflection of those numbers onto the report, and that's the
Correct.
problem. And so they would
All
not
right,
show.
I got it. Okay, so in other words, next month it'll show a lot more.
Right, yeah. Next
Correct.
month we're expecting the normal number of homeowners that don't pay plus 41. As a
Well,
current.
that's why I asked her for a report through April 30th and
Yeah, she didn't.
showing everybody that's
Right.
been late as a result of
Yeah.
COVID-19.
Right, I saw that.
And she didn't get it for me. So
Yeah, I know.
I'll have a discussion with her on that.
Yeah, I had a pretty extensive conversation with her and her staff over the last 48 hours to try to clear up what, in my opinion, are I don't think they're doing anything wrong. I think it's the way that they report the numbers and the method that they use. It conceals stuff
Yeah.
For some time.
Well, but yet when I ask for something current, I should get something current.
Yeah, I mean the problem is they just haven't started on that period yet. So
Okay.
yeah, that's
All
probably
right. Well, thank you for that, Chris, and I'll talk to Jeannie tomorrow about it. Now, if that's the case, and I spoke to Jeannie today, she wanted to know people that are 90 days late before we send them to the attorney, can we give them a couple days to get caught up? And I said, I have no problem with that. That's a good suggestion.
Yes.
But I had a suggestion also, which she thought was very good. And I said, when you notify them that they're past 90 days late, I said, and we're not going to use the $1,000 figure arbitrarily. Obviously, if it's $1,000, it goes to collection, but sometimes they're 90 days late and they're only $700 behind. I said, my suggestion would be notify people that are over 90 days late and let them know that if they don't get caught up, it's going to go to collections. And once it goes to collections, it's going to make them responsible for attorney's fees, costs, and interest. And she said that's a good idea, and she would do that.
Yeah.
That may give them the incentive to get caught up, because otherwise it just keeps compounding and making the situation worse.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
May I be heard, Larry?
yes,
It's Mary
Mary.
Lou. Okay,
Yes.
great. I was reviewing her monthly review closely yesterday and today, and I believe we're discussing number 7 on her list of 7 items. And she mentions 3 days, giving them 3 days. And I, too, think that out of fairness, due to the current situation, and for all we know, these people may be unemployed, I felt that we, too, should give them a little more time. But I do think this, that if they were honest with us, and said, look, I've lost my job, or we're both laid off, we haven't gotten our stimulus checks yet, we filed for unemployment, haven't gotten it yet. I think we have to work with these people and be fair.
Well, I have no problem with that, Mary Lou, but the problem is the 41 people that Chris is talking about as a result of COVID-19 are first-time offenders. The ones that I'm talking about are over 90 days past due.
But do you realize, for example, well, Larry, let me finish. I'll just say this to you. I haven't seen a paycheck since February 29th. So, fortunately,
Yes,
I'm in a
Lou,
situation.
but
the point is, not everybody has assets to be able to pay for 2 or 3 months.
I understand that. But the people, Mary Lou, that I'm talking about are habitually late.
Not all of them.
Not new people. The ones I'm talking about, some of them only owe a few dollars. Obviously, we're going to let them go. We're going to give them a chance to get caught up. But the people that owe $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, I'm not going to be nice to them.
No, I'm talking about the people that owe $1,000 or less.
Exactly. And I agree with you on that. We're going to work with people, but it doesn't hurt to say that if it gets, she won't turn anything over to collections until I say it's okay. And she's not going to turn it over without saying, Larry, I spoke to these people. They're having a difficult time. Then I'm not cold-hearted. I'm going to say, okay, I understand. People have situations in their life. So it's not a hard, fast rule, but it's something to get people motivated to pay. That's what I'm trying to do.
If I could recognize, just to clarify a point here.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
I went through a deep dive of the aging of the accounts for the last 3 months, and I agree with both Larry's recommendation as well as Jeannie's recommendation, in the sense that the change is basically having her send out a letter before it goes to an attorney or to collections, which that's the only change. They'd still end up in the same place. It's just whether we do an intermediate step. And one of the
Right.
things that I noted while going through the aging of accounts is that on a historical basis, it'd be in our interest not to really send people to collections until they pass 1,500. Our performance before that is pretty abysmal. So that's basically the break-even point.
Well,
So
quite
we're
honestly,
talking about-
Chris,
right?
just so as you understand, I don't let her send them to a clients unless they go over $2,000, sometimes $3,000.
I'm just clarifying for the point that the people we're talking about currently are not first or second or third month people. These are people who are 5, 6, 7 months, 8 months late.
Correct.
And
And some of them over a year. Obviously, to get $8,000, you're quite late.
Right, and so we're not talking about the people who started this year even. We're talking people who started late last year or earlier.
Or late 18,
right,
through all of 19. Yes.
right.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Okay, so that and Mary Lou, your point's well taken. And like I said, people who are in a situation right now, obviously, we're not going to demand money from them if they don't have it.
Yes, because I noticed that there are many where it says 90 plus days past on the aging report, only owe $35, $368,
Correct.
351, 351, 408, 177. These are people that we need to cut some slack,
Correct.
even though
Okay,
it's 90
very
days.
good. All right, so we're on the same page. Okay, now, the next thing, and I'm going to let Randall go into it more on his report, but the last thing I want to touch on is lighting in the community. Randall made it clear he was having difficulty getting the type lights we have. He has been able to find some. I think he's got now a total of 7 that he has changed, but we don't know how many more we're going to be able to get. So my thoughts were, and I recommended to Randall, all the ones along the canal, excuse me, and the walking trails around the lakes, that if we take those that are working and save them for the other areas that need them when they burn out, and put brighter lights in along the walking trails and the canals that won't affect homeowners. And I think he came up with a number, and he'll go over all that. But that's only if worse comes to worse. That's what we'll do. We'll take them out and replace them with a brighter light to make it even safer for people at night who want to walk the trails. And the cost is little, if any, difference. So, all right. So that's all I have for now. And I'm going to let Randall do his report.
All right.
You there, Randall?
Yeah, I'm here. So you're skipping over, like, you didn't talk about any financials or anything?
Well,
I would like to discuss the March financials based on Jeannie's monthly review. I'd love to have an opportunity to discuss some of those things she addressed.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. That's fine.
All right,
And
Randall,
we
forgive
have
me, but
No.
well, for example, number 2, she mentions that there is a bank where we're making no interest. I'd like to see us find a bank where we get paid interest. We have $50,000 in a bank who pays us no interest, which she points out, and that is a SunTrust account. That's number 2 on her monthly review.
No, that's the Wells Fargo account. And I've said that for months now. You need to move that money so it's doing something.
Yes, she has said it. Just a reminder. She has mentioned it before. Exactly.
Right.
And we need to address that.
I totally agree. But yeah, now listen, hold on. We're going to do that. But first we need 2 signatures. And that's why tonight I'm going to appoint Chris as treasurer. And then we can get his name on the bank accounts. Right now, I don't want to be the only name on these accounts.
Well, legally, you shouldn't be.
Well, you're right, but it only requires 1. But legally, I feel more comfortable with 2. Now, The other thing that I wanted to point out regarding bank accounts is I have a $5,000 board approved maximum to spend. I suggested to Rawson that, and he said it's a good idea, that any check made payable to anybody over $5,000 has 2 signatures on it.
I agree.
Because we had 12,000 taken out of our account with no signature. So,
Well, that's
we're not
why
gonna
I
do that
offered.
anymore.
That's why I offered to serve as vice president, simply for the main reason of being your second signature, should we require it. And so now that we're about to appoint Chris, you will have 2 signatures. But the point is, we
Right.
did ever since Joe was removed as vice president, we have needed 2 signatures, and that's been several months, and it wasn't good business on our part.
Now, well, Randall was signing when he was treasurer up till the end of the year.
Yeah, but that's
And then-
6 months, 5 months ago. This is May
Well,
1st,
right, but
tomorrow.
I understand.
No, it's
but
okay. We
we
decided
have
already.
our hands have been tied for the past 2 months, Mary. So,
Not really. If you had allowed me to be VP, could have been verbally appointed over internet, over the phone, over whatever, you would have had
No,
your second
because-
signature.
no, because a lot of these banks require us going to the bank in person.
Yeah,
Both of us.
I go to my
whoever's
bank
gonna be
every
on the
week in
accounts.
person. I go to my bank every week in person.
All right. Well,
They keep
it's- we're
everybody
talking-
far apart.
That's history. Today, we move forward. So, without any further ado, in fact, I'm going to appoint Chris as treasurer of the board. Does anybody
No,
want to
you have
second the
to.
motion?
You have to propose that, and we vote on it.
That's what I'm saying.
No,
I'm
you said
making a
I'm going to
proposal.
appoint.
No, I said, okay, I'm making a proposal to appoint Chris as treasurer of the board. Does anybody want to second that
I'm
motion?
second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, so Chris, you're now the
You vote,
treasurer of
Chris.
the board.
You're allowed to vote.
Oh, I didn't know if I'm allowed to vote for myself, so I didn't. Okay.
You're-
You're allowed to, Chris. You're allowed to.
I wasn't sure if that was something.
Say aye.
It's unanimous.
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Congratulations,
All right, so-
Chris.
Thanks. There
All right,
are some.
so-
If I could, there are some other items on the current Genie report that we need to kind of address as the board.
I agree.
Okay.
So one
All
of the
right,
things.
so then,
Oh,
go
sorry.
ahead, since you're the treasurer, go ahead, address it.
Okay, so a couple of the things here. So items 3 and 4, as well
Correct.
as 5. I have been through both her notes on this, as well as the budget for this, and there are some pretty serious concerns regarding this. So basically, what we're looking at is the roof repairs and the fence repairs. They were not indicated by the board as to where they should be pulled from, whether that's operating budget or reserve, and they need to know whether or not to pull those from reserve. Now, the problem further in lies here is that some of these expenses, particularly with regards to fences and building repairs, are both significantly above what we budgeted for the year and are significantly above what we have in reserves. So to give an idea, the fences number, for which we don't have we have a budget of $0 for the year on fences. We are approximately as of March 20th, we're 25,000 over budget. We only have 6,000 in reserve. So while we can ask Genie to defer 6,000 to the reserves, the remaining amount is going to be a negative carry in the operating budget. So that's the first note. A second note is the same thing goes for the building repair. So building repair, we had 35,000 in expenses as of March 20th. We have $10,000 in our annual budget, so we're 25,000 above our annual budget already. And it cannot be covered by reserve, at least that I could find, because the reserve line item that we have for that is actually already in a negative carry. It's negative 30,000. We also have an additional $20,000 for the building repair in accounts payable currently. So we're looking at a negative line item for building repair of about 75,000. So between the two fences and building repair, we're potentially looking at having almost $100,000 hole. So what I would recommend is if Jeannie can pull that money, or at least part of that money, because she's not going to be able to pull all of it out of reserves, but we authorize her to do so, and we're going to have to make up for those two line items as well as several others somewhere else.
May I be recognized, please, because I have a different observation on the reserves.
All right. Go ahead, Mary Lou.
Okay. Two things. First of all, let me explain, which Chris may not know. I know the rest of you know. Reserves, because Jeannie asked this question. Reserves are only to be used for a community-wide project.
Okay.
Now, the fence restoration was a community-wide project, and we had the right to take everything out of reserves for fences. And I'll go back to that in a minute. However, you're mentioning building repair, Chris, but it's not. It's roofs. It's roof repair, not building repair, that Jeannie asks about. And roof repairs are not a community-wide project. And that money should come out of operations only.
Okay.
Now, as far as the fence project goes, we do have, and you're right, at this moment, according to her, we have only $6,186.21 left. But we also have interest in the amount of $1,010.06, which we can have Jeannie transfer out of the interest and move it into the fence repairs. Now, that's not going to solve our problem, but it will give us over $7,000 to use for the fence repairs. And of course, the reason, Chris, that we are under budgeted for this year was that the fence project was to be completed last September. It was supposed to be September of 18 to September of 19. So we were not properly, budgeted for all this fence work to be done in 2020.
Right.
But as far as roof repairs go, you don't want to use the reserves for what you're calling building repair. It's number 2530. And in number 2530, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, we have 93,391.27 in reserves, but we cannot use that for roof repairs scattered around the community.
Okay.
That is for a major project like we did several years ago where we replaced all the flat roofs.
Okay. All right.
So
Now, I
just
want
sharing
to
my
inject
knowledge.
something. I want to inject
Okay.
something here. The roof maintenance program, for which we spent, I believe, $35,000, is a community-wide project and can be taken from reserves.
Yeah, that would help.
Yes, but that was not what we were discussing. We were talking about
but
day-to-day roof repairs. Campany
Day-to-day
roofing.
roof repairs.
No, we're talking about
No,
Campany roofing being called to do a repair. If you look at the
I understand,
financials,
Mary.
you'll see that.
But what I'm saying is we paid all, including the roof maintenance, out of our operating budget, and it could be taken from reserves and put back in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, you can refund it, but the fact remains that our documents clearly state that reserves are to be used for community-wide projects. That would mean that every single solitary roof in this community would be worked on this year, between now, January 1st and April 30th. Then Jeannie could take it out of reserves. But it's not a community-wide project.
Right.
It most certainly is, Mary Lou. They inspected every roof in our community
Oh,
this
we're not
year.
talking about inspections. We're talking about repairs. Look at the bills from Campany. Look at the bills
I
from
understand.
Campany. That's what Jeannie's talking about. She is paying for individual roofs to be repaired here and there throughout the community. We're not talking about what you're talking about. We're talking about what should be coming out of operating, where Campany
I
is called
understand.
because there's a leak.
But I understand. But she's paying
Can
everything
anybody hear me?
out of operating. She paid for the roof inspections out of operating. That's my point.
Right. Yeah. Just to be clear, Jeannie was talking about the end of the roof repairs. I think everybody's on the same page. They cannot be paid. That those cannot be paid out of reserves. But Larry's suggestion is that we move the $35,000 that we used, that we paid for with operating funds for the community roof maintenance project. We move that amount from reserves to operating, because basically debiting the amount that we spent on the community-wide roof maintenance.
Correct.
That's fine.
Okay,
That's fine. But we always have to keep the documents as our basis of operations.
Right.
And
all right. I think everybody's on the same page currently, so I think that.
Okay.
The last two.
We agree with you. We agree, Mary Lou.
The last.
Yes. No, I said I am fine with that. What I wasn't fine with was, Jeannie's question. So I wanted to address it tonight, and it has now been resolved. Versus, fence reserves versus repairing of roof reserves. Okay, that was what we were talking about.
All right. If I could,
Good.
Okay, so the last two items I just wanted to quickly point out. The first one is in regards to plumbing. So we have a $25,000 annual budget. Obviously, plumbing is not a reserve eligible account. We are currently, as of March 20th, $12,000, which would project our year to be somewhere around 50 to 60% over budget. So just a heads up on that. And the final one is with regards to legal, specifically HOA legal. So not legal of collections, but just HOA Rawson in general. We have an annual budget of $20,000. We currently, as of March 20th, have spent $15,000. We have an additional $30,000 in accounts payable. That's currently late 20 days. And we appear to have another one bill that just came in as well. So as of current, we are effectively at 2.2 times the annual reserve. We need to very carefully consider when we call on Rawson, because at the current rate, we're going to be there's no right now we're over budget. We're going to be tens of thousands over budget with regards to.
What we paid for.
All right, and may I be heard on one thing, Larry, please, regarding this? Just very quickly. Okay. And I won't name the unit number, but for those of you who have them in front of you, I'm comparing the aging of accounts, which Jeannie prepared, versus Rawson and Burr, their report, which we got. And I will say to you that the first unit on page 1 of Jeannie's report and the second unit on page 1 of Rawson's report, I could not crunch the numbers to even begin to understand, because, and I'll just give you a total. Jeannie said as of April 29th, total due $5,214.65. Rawson says total due $7,019. So let
me explain why.
Okay.
Because Jeannie's number are only assessments. Rawson's includes attorney's fees, interest, and late charges.
Okay,
So
but guess what? When I added those up, I still didn't reach the number either way. So I would suggest that somebody, and probably Chris, crunch the numbers, because I did take attorney costs, attorney fee, interest, late fee. I figured all those in, and I couldn't arrive at either number when comparing them.
All right.
So
And I
I
have
think we
another
need to
suggestion.
investigate that.
And I can tell you that Sean Miller, and I encourage Chris to speak with Sean Miller at Rawson's office. She can explain the differences. So her name is Sean Miller. You just call Rawson and Burr, ask to speak to Sean. Any questions you have, she'll answer.
Those are the major items, at least from the budget.
Okay.
But again, just to quickly summarize here, potentially
Yeah,
we are.
and I want to point one other thing out, Chris, and that's our water bill and how much we've spent on water for the first quarter.
Right.
I'm looking at over $200,000. If that holds true for the rest of the year, we're over 800,000.
Correct.
And if we don't get this water situation under control, and Randall's working diligently to do it, I uncovered a swimming pool right next to you, Chris, and made him take it down. Randall this week discovered 2 more swimming pools on patios. These people are just doing what they want to do. And it's costing us a fortune in water. Our water bill should be
So is people washing their cars.
Our water bills should be $50 tops per unit. So
Now that's dreaming. That's dreaming. That's a little too low, Larry.
Mary Lou, I know people who live in Bear Lakes that only pay $50 a month, and they have a swimming pool.
But we know the reason why we're paying. Plus, because they take us from corporation who using a lot of water.
Well, we pay commercial rate. We pay commercial rate because we use so much.
If I can have a question here to Joe. Did we ever get anywhere on that the class action lawsuit with regards to the volume pricing of water?
No, they haven't gotten back to me on that.
Okay.
When you install individual meter, you see how much water we're using for, at least for
I
2-3
can try to
years.
come up with a list of ideas for water, and as well as some of these others for the next meeting.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely something that we need to communicate more with the residents about. Particularly,
Well, if you divide that 800,000 by 524, it's over $150 a month for water per unit.
Oh my God.
That's ridiculous. Okay. All right. Are we ready for Randall?
I believe so.
All right, Randall, go ahead.
Well, I guess I could just give you a kind of a synopsis of what some certain areas. I know you all want to talk about tree removals. I kind of came up with another tree that could be added to the list. From this recent storm, kind of, it was already dead to begin with, and now it's, half of it was ripped off, and now it's, a stick that could be removed. But we definitely got to start talking about, what are we going to do with these trees that we've actually already approved to have, taken out.
Right.
Again, I'll skip over concrete stuff because I'm going to discuss, how you want to go about doing the concrete. Or when, I should say. I mean, we know the areas. It's just a matter of, when do you want to start doing that? What else? I can talk about. Fence project is getting, speaking of fences, we're getting close to almost the end here. Also, we've had a little incident this week where I had to call the police and file a complaint against a resident who just helping herself to piles of wood and still don't know where she put it. And just kind of being wacky. So there's an open investigation regarding some wood that was stolen.
From us?
Not much. What? Yeah, some wood that were marked sitting on the side of the building that this woman took. But anyway, I mean, I'm dealing with that with the police, and the girl has a little bit of, mental issues, so we're kind of treading lightly a little bit. So, but I'm dealing with that. But as far as the project itself, they're both kind of moving along. Mark has close to 50 actually prepared and starting to paint, and that's kind of like probably the end of him. Well, because the other guys who there's only, after what they're doing right now, only have about, say, 20 more. So by the time that all happens, they should have met, at one point, and it should be all done. I can't say the time frame on it because we just, with weather and such, I can't really say for sure, but it's getting there. It's getting pretty darn close. Let me move on to plumbing. Backflows, I've been mentioning in our manager's reports, there was 4 backflows that needed attention. They were done this week, but three out of the 4 were just simple, just rubber gasket replacement, but 1 out of the 4 that failed the test needs to be replaced. So we're getting a proposal on having to replace that. Those backflows have to do with our water pressure. Plus, if they're leaking, there goes some of your, we gotta stop all the leaks because the water is out of control. Next, parking. That's on the agenda to talk about parking. It's certainly out of control. I've been stickering cars like nobody's business. It's been crazy. Of course, that brings on some confrontations because people don't like when their cars are stickered. And I've towed a couple vehicles, a trailer. I've towed another vehicle because we got to show people that we're serious about abiding by the parking the rules that we have in place to park. And I really think that the parking decals will diminish a lot of our problems. So if we can decide on, not that it's a big decision, but I just threw them out there to you guys a couple weeks ago. Just that there's a lot to choose from. Simple decal, send 2 out to the homeowners, and this way, any car that's not a decal, doesn't have a decal, would get tagged and towed. Anybody that has a guest, I can have postcards. Anybody that has a guest that's obviously not for an hour guest or a day, but somebody that's going to be a prolonged guest, a couple days or something. So we're not hassling them, but they can come to me for a guest pass. So they can just stick into their their dashboard in the windshield. So we're not harassing them. So definitely would like to move forward with that. It's not expensive at all. There's the company that we get our doggy bags from. We can get them from them for a fairly reasonable price. $400 or so. So we got to talk. That's on the agenda. So if you want to talk more about that after. What else? I've been tackling. It's going to take years, but eventually, we can get this under control. But of course, I've been finding that, there just has been a lack of control in the past with past management companies with lease expirations. Not getting a current lease on file from a landlord that has a tenant residing in their property. $1,000 security deposits. I've raked in probably 5,000 or 6,000, actually more than that. Actually 8, 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, about $15,000 in security deposits that people never had on account because nobody put their feet to the fire and made them do it. What's his name? Udenhofen was one of the big ones. He had 8,000 that, 8 units that he didn't have, deposits on that he fought both Larry and I, but he finally caved in and did what he had to do. So, I've been finding a lot of that. I'm also finding that there's people living in units that aren't even on the lease, let alone have a current lease. So a lot of stuff I've been discovering through, old files from previous companies and the information that I have to contact owners is just horrible. It's, almost non-existent, no mailing addresses, no phone numbers, or if there is a phone number, it's not correct. No email addresses, or if there is an email address, it's not, doesn't work. So I'm finding a lot of that, and it's taken up a lot of my time, but it really has to be done. So I'm kind of, chipping away at the elephant, so to speak, one bite at a time. What else? Getting a lot of, pressure cleaning, we kind of know where that's about, so I'll skip over that. You guys can talk about that here on the agenda. Pest control, that's another thing that I've been kind of pushing. I'm getting so many complaints. I mean, so many complaints about just various stuff when it comes to pest control. I was speaking with Larry today, even though I would like to see a plan in place, like the one that we already have a proposal on the table for it's a bi-monthly plan, so every other month, so it's 6 times a year for the perimeter. On the other hand, with the complaints that I'm getting, so I kind of asked Larry, how should I be addressing these people? Because I'm kind of tired of it. Because, quite frankly, I started to think about it. It's not even in our documents that we're responsible for pest control, especially on the inside. That is for darn sure. But the people who complain, they complain that they're coming in from the outside. They want me to do something about it. So I've been kind of holding them off because I want to see what we're going to do with this annual plan. So I just wanted to let you know about that. I'll move on to something else. Security lighting. Larry already touched on it. I had a hell of a time for months and months trying to just locate the type of light that we have on the building now. And it's kind of not one of a kind, but it's not out there in the marketplace, that's for sure. So I'm still having a problem. I tried to get one. How I got the 7 or 8 of them that I recently did get off of Amazon. Tried to go back and see what I can get today, and there's nothing. The retailer that is supplying this Amazon, whoever's selling them on Amazon, they're not calling me back because I have a phone number and they have a website, a crappy website, but they're not returning my call. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of where I can get these lights. So still kind of dealing with that. And then also Larry touched on the fact that the brighter lights that Larry is speaking of for like the outer, perimeter of the community, I can get those lights, at Home Depot. So, and we're talking about, I only really counted the one side of the canal, which I think is really the only side that we really would need. It's about 21 lights, and they're about, I can get them for about $65 a piece. And I can get them like now. And then, like Larry said, if we replaced, put these brighter lights on the 21, sides of a building along the canal, then those 21 lights I have in stock, sitting in storage, able to use for the rest of the community if I'm having such a problem getting these other, these lights. So it's something to know about, and I guess we'll see what we're going to do going forward with that. And what else?
By the way, if you need help finding the lights, if you could send me the make and model of them, I can see how to find them.
Trust me, I've had everybody. I got lighting retailers looking for the light. If they can't find it, trust me. I've got several retailers looking for this light. I've been searching for it since January. And
is it difficult
this particular light is made by a company that's not manufacturing them at the moment, or they're not being upfront as to what their manufacturing cycle is.
Randall, may I ask, what is the life expectancy of these $65 light bulbs?
50,000 hours.
Okay, so 50,000 hours.
3 years or so, 3.5. Well,
okay.
A little more than that. Actually.
All right. So if it's 3 years divided by 65, it's not crazy.
Can I ask a question? Randall, Can I ask a
Go
question?
ahead, Natalia.
We want to buy 21 light. Why we not contact the manufacturer who producing this light, instead buy pay retail in Home Depot? Because we can buy wholesale 50% off from the company directly, because we're buying bulk. Why it's buying in retailer?
Yeah, but I'm kind of. I mean, I'm getting a reduced price from Home Depot.
But it's not too much. 50%. Do you see what happened
No.
with our money? We're losing
Yeah,
money
but-
right to left,
No.
and we need
No,
try
but
save it.
see, you got to understand. Some of these
Say 35
manufacturers
or
don't.
30.
They don't sell to someone like myself. They just
can
don't
sell
do that. They
21.
sell
They
to
can
retailers.
sell. They can sell.
They don't-
Suppose 25. They can sell 25. You can ask minimum
No,
order.
they
I
don't.
always
Okay,
buy
I'll tell you what.
wholesale.
I'll give you something to do. You try and get that done, and we'll see how you make out. Because Josh, trust me, I've been working on this for 4 months, and I kind of I know all the obstacles that I've been trying to get it. So if you think you can get it
And
for
I'll
50%,
jump in. I'll jump in, Randy, and Randall, and say that yes, and I happen to know because you told me that you tried to negotiate a deal with Home Depot that if you ordered X amount of them, they'd give you a break. So I know you have been working on that.
He was working, but just
Well-
can you tell me the link what you want to buy?
I
Just
try
let
and
me
contact
try.
the
I will
manufacturer
see to contact
directly.
manufacturer. Yeah,
Right.
I can contact.
They
We'll
don't
see
deal
what
with-
happens.
They don't deal. I'm not a
They
retailer.
don't sell to individuals. They only sell to
Mary
corporations,
Lou,
right?
they have minimum
Well, to
order.
retailers.
They can meet minimum
Right.
They don't
order.
sell.
Every factory.
They sell to
wholesale
Brand Smart and Home Depot and
No,
other companies.
Mary Lou,
Correct.
you can buy.
They don't
I
sell
was-
to Joe Smith down the street.
You can ask if a manufacturer what is your minimum order. Maybe we're able to buy directly
I
from
have
a
spoken. I've
Did you
done.
talk
I've
to
been
them?
down that road. Trust me. I don't even need to
Okay.
talk
If
about
you
it anymore.
contacted
Waste of
them,
time.
I know you have. Yeah, I know you have.
All right, I think it's
Definitely.
All right. Listen, the other thing I want Randall to touch on before he finishes is Natalia sent me an email. She had some concerns, and I promised her we would address them. And Randall, you know what they are. One is subcontractors, and the other one is the Roundup.
What, the product?
And yes, and
junk removal charges,
There was-
how they charge us? Yeah, junk removal and third herbicides.
yes.
Yeah, I'd like it when you're all done. I'd like to express a thought about gut junk also.
So what's the
Go
question?
ahead, Randall.
I don't know. What's the question?
All right. Natalia doesn't think we should hire people who use subcontractors. Number one. So
So we
explain
should
the
fire-
reason why we
No,
why
we can
we do it.
directly because we have manager.
Okay,
Right now.
Islander doesn't subcontract.
No, we don't let. Suppose just example, we don't let our landscaper to
should we fire
subcontract
Islander
somebody.
line maintenance? Is that what we're saying?
No, can I say, we should not permit our landscapers to subcontract somebody supposed to plant our hedges or plant our trees.
We're not.
We
they're
should.
not Islander is not having anything to do with trees or hedges.
But I
Remember,
remember when they
when we
okay.
hired them,
when we
Correct.
interview them. Understand?
they are not having anything to do with hedges or planting.
No,
the only
I
thing they're
understand.
focusing
It
on
means-
is
means-
mowing, trimming, detailing.
all.
That's
But-
it. And spraying for fertilizer a couple times a year, and weeds
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and-
Yeah,
I
if you'll recall, Natalia, we are going to get bids from nurseries on the hedges
yeah.
and the trees and so on that we plant.
It's great, but
Yes, and we all agreed that companies who purely do tree removal and replacement, companies who purely do hedges, removal and replacement, we've talked about this, and
it's
they
another
should be
question,
separate
Mary
from our
Lou,
basic
Mary Lou,
landscape company.
question.
Absolutely.
question that
And we plan on doing that. We've
Mary Lou.
discussed it and we all agreed.
Mary Lou, it's not that question. What I talk about, we choosing the company. Randall bring us the estimate if we board choosing who we can hire, not our not Jeff that just give us another contractor, not landscaping give us another contractor, because of so which we make a choice who we hire, not somebody.
No, we did. We have, Natalia, and we've also, please,
Mary
we
Lou,
have
I
gone
did not
out for
finish.
bids in
Mary Lou.
2018,
Mary Lou.
19, and maybe even now Randall's getting them. We have
Mary
gone
Lou.
out. I can't even begin to remember
Mary Lou,
how
you did
many
not let me
bids
finish.
we've had from different
Okay.
landscape companies to remove the 9 bloody trees
Mary Lou,
that
you
are a
did not
problem.
let.
We've been talking about that since 2018.
Mary Lou, you don't
And
let
it was
finish.
never the landscape company. We always went out to a separate company to do trees only.
Mary
That's
Lou.
their expertise.
Mary Lou, can I finish? You don't let finish. When we
Sorry.
when we interviewed the landscaper, somebody told Randall O'Leary, I have recording, that if we need do some another work like plant hedges, they don't do that work, but they can subcontract somebody to do that. What I was talking about.
No.
But we don't intend to do that. We
If-
don't intend to do
This
that.
is what I was talking, that we should not let anybody profit on us, do extra profit. This is the question. It's all.
That never ever came up. It was fully understood, and Jeff of Islander didn't want that. He
No,
just wants to
Right.
do the mowing
Yes,
and trimming. He
understand.
doesn't want to be involved in anything
But,
else.
but do you remember how many
Jeff
times
offered
Jeff
to give
yeah.
if we wanted to do something with trees, he offered to give recommendations, but he did not offer to
Yeah, but how many times?
Yeah, no.
How many times Jeff
No.
brought the company? Try subcontract somebody. You forgot how Jeff was bringing us contractors? He was
Jeff
subcontracting somebody. You
Which
forgot. What I was talking about, we should not let anybody subcontract. We doing contract. We make it.
No,
Right.
we're going
Now
out
that-
for our own bids, Natalia. We've been committed to that for a couple of years now.
Now, Natalia, let me address the one that you saying, like Jeff, who does gate repairs and so on, like he'll have
No,
concrete,
not
he'll
Jeff doing,
subcontract it to
subcontracting
somebody
somebody.
else. All
But
right.
we're not using
What-
him now.
Well, but what we do is we get 3 bids. If Jeff
Correct.
is the lowest price and he wants to use a subcontractor, I could care less as long as he's the lowest price. Now, if he's the highest price and he wants to use a subcontractor, he won't get the contract.
But I talk about responsibility, because if it's somebody subcontract, we cannot. The person not responsible. You know.
As
who did the
long
job.
as long as the price is less than anybody else, if he can figure out a way to subcontract it and still make money, God bless him.
Understand, but who will be responsible for work?
The contractor.
Jeff is responsible. Jeff would be responsible.
He will keep accounted to the work if it's not done good. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then what was your other concern,
It's
Natalia,
homogen-
that
how
you're
we
saying
pay-
you had proof that they're using Roundup?
Yes, they using Roundup, because Roundup you can buy anywhere right now. They add notice on the packaging that it's cause cancer, and you using
They're not
in your
using
discretion.
Roundup, Natalia.
They're very cheap.
not
If
using
you compare,
Roundup.
you don't know how. Listen, I ask.
They're not using Roundup.
How you know?
They are not using
I
Roundup.
ask-
I don't know how many times I have to
I
say it, but
caught
they're
them.
not using
Listen,
Roundup.
I caught them and I asked them, "What are you using?" People who spraying. They
Okay,
told,
but they don't understand. They don't even speak English. They
Can
don't know what
I
they're
finish,
using.
please?
I've sent you pictures of the actual product that
"Can
they're
you
using.
can you
And the
finish? Can I
ingredients.
finish?"
And I even got Jeff to explain, what the product is. I mean,
Roundup.
I can.
They
We can
type.
get him on the. You want to get him on the phone? I mean, what proof do you have? It's Roundup. Let's
Listen.
see your proof.
Let me explain. When I caught these people spraying on top of tree trunk, it close to the hedges, and I took pictures on the next day what happened with these trees and what happened with grass around when they did that. I caught them right away and asked them, "What are you using?" They told Roundup.
And
I
they-
told,
Right, and
I told, "Are you sure
and they
Roundup?"
don't understand.
But
They
they
don't
can.
understand what they're
Why
using.
you don't let
They're
me say?
Guatemalans. They don't
Roundup.
know.
Hello.
Talk to Jeff. They don't freaking
Hello?
know.
Can I speak? Can I finish? They told
May
me
I
that
jump
they
in
read.
here? Natalia, let me say this to you. For example, the new landscape company. Sebastian is the manager on property, right, Randall?
No.
Well, Sebastian's the one I've met on property a couple of times. So,
Irrigation. Talking about, he's for the irrigation company.
oh, sorry. Okay, but the guy that's from Islander, getting them mixed up. Sorry, the guy from Islander.
Jeff Cohen.
Huh?
Jeff Cohen.
Yes, Jeff Cohen. Thank you. Okay. He reassured me in a conversation that they absolutely do not use Roundup. Now, that's all I can say. I didn't go climb in their truck and go look and see what the containers were, but he said they did not use Roundup. So I have to take him at his word. I mean, that's what we do. If he's lying to us, that's a disappointment.
He deals with this all over the place. Trust me.
Right? I'm happy. I believe him.
Natalia's not the only
Can
one
you finish?
that
Oh my God.
is saying what she's saying. As far as like Roundup, he deals with this all over the place. And trust me, he's not using Roundup.
Can I finish?
Right.
Can I finish, please? I respect you. Listen when you speak. You're so disrespectful to another people. Unbelievable. Let me finish. I asked. Don't. Please let me finish. These people told that they read on the packaging that it's Roundup. Okay, if it's not Roundup, they should not use any herbicide that kill every plant, because after they spray around, even on the trunk of the trees lost their leaves because of decorative tree, very sensitive. And I have pictures. They killed grass and weed around the tree bed, and along
That's what it's supposed to do.
no, they should not do, because they damage the trees. Look at tree right now, half dead. I don't know if they will recover. This happened already with landscape manager. We prohibit them to do that. They should use trimmer, not use herbicide, because they damage our plants. And after we will have problem to cut the tree, remove tree, replace, and the same happen with hedges. You should not do that. They should put person with trimmer, because they saving money. They don't want to hire more people if they're using herbicides. And I will prove. I have all picture. I all recorded what happened. I did not have time to make this document, and I will send everybody. They stop it, because our dogs walk sniffing there, children playing, and it's not healthy. Even it's Roundup or no Roundup, but it's not way to work with.
Non-toxic.
Because not every landscaping company using herbicide. If you see what happened with the trees, it's unbelievable. I have all proofs.
Okay. All right. Well, get your evidence and give us the videos, Natalia, and then we'll look into it further. I promise you.
Okay. And another
Okay.
junk, how we charging, how we paying for hello junk removal. It's again, they send you picture with amount of trash in his trunk. If we pay them, or how we pay them. How you determine how much they pick up.
Randall can explain that, but we are passing some of those charges on to homeowners when we know who's putting it there. And this past week, I've had 2 homeowners report in 2 situations who put it there, and they're getting the bill for the removal.
Uh-huh.
But otherwise,
Can we enforce
Hello
the
Junk
bills?
takes pictures at the dumpsters, and Randall, go ahead, explain all that.
Yeah, and can we enforce so they pay that if we remove their junk? Can we enforce that?
Well,
Yes, we can. That's why we have $1,000 security deposits.
May I jump in a minute about the current junk company we're using,
Go ahead.
please? Okay.
Go ahead, Randall.
You've heard this from me before. Friends who live in PGA, Lost Tree, Ballin Isles, etc., etc. They use different companies, And I have two friends who serve on board of directors of two very exclusive gated communities. They don't pay nearly a load what we pay per load. So I would like to suggest that when Randall catches his breath and has a little time, that we look into maybe getting some quotes from some other junk pickup companies, because it's outrageous what we're paying.
What do we pay per load, just for reference?
Well, I mean, look at the financial report. I see checks for $800, $750, and that's more than once a month. I mean, unbelievable what we're paying.
Mary Lou, those are multiple loads.
Yeah,
He doesn't charge $800.
Yeah, but doesn't matter. Look at the end of the year divided by 52 weeks or divided by 12 months.
I couldn't agree more. We haul a lot.
I mean, there's no harm. There's no harm in going out for 2 or 3 more bids and just see what happens.
Absolutely not. There's no harm in it. So we'll
exactly. It's educational for us as well. So absolutely.
Okay, Randall. So, but explain to Natalia how Hello Junk sends their bills in with photographs of the dumpsters and everything that's around them, and then they send it in with their invoice. But go ahead. I might be missing something.
No,
How
I mean,
you
that's how they
determine?
do it. I mean, they base their fee on, the load of a truck. If
Yeah,
it's,
I
quarter
agree.
load, half load, full load, and that's how they base their fee. And, they run around every Friday, pick up, things that are sitting around dumpsters, and then they take pictures of what they picked up so they can show that, what type of load they have picked up. And that goes with the invoice. And I pretty much, since I'm on the property so much, I pretty much, it's accurate. It's not like they're, trying to pull any kind of fast things on us. But I might agree that what they charge is very expensive. But I have gone through a lot of, matter of fact, I kind of went through this when I was working on the fences last year when I first started with Mark. Having to remove the wood and get rid of it and dispose of it. That was on Mark to do that. These companies, man, they all charge all around the same amount. They're high. It's a lot of money for them to come by and pick up junk. I can't. It makes me want to throw up when I see all the stuff that
What we're paying.
What we're paying, or I shouldn't say so much what we're paying, but how much stuff is being picked up that we're paying for. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And it's going to be like, we can certainly go. I saw another company that I used to use in the past when I was flipping properties. Got Junk. They're another one, but they're right in there. They're all competitive. They're all in the same, same rates. Nobody's that much cheaper than the other one that you're going to be like, oh, okay, let's use you, because they're not really much cheaper. They're all pretty much the same, which is around $400 for a truckload. Actually, some are even more. There's others are, $500, $550. So Hello Junk charges $400 for a full truckload.
Yeah.
Can I have suggestion? Every dumpster has a number. If he take picture of dumpster and next to the dumpster this bulk trash what is next to the dumpster, and so it's with date on the picture. And when he send you the bill, he will show you together with his loads. He showed you where he picked up.
The picture,
Because
they come by every Friday, and then I get the bill for it Monday or Tuesday. So I always know from that bill what junk they picked up from the previous Friday.
Because you
every Friday they pick up stuff. I see the bill and the pictures on Monday.
Yeah, it's I agree. It's good. Yeah, because you're always on property. Yeah, this way.
Well, I mean, I don't see everything, but for the most part, I have a pretty good idea of what's around.
But anyway, ask them send them
I see it all week long. It's disgusting.
That's just ideas. Ask them so they send you the picture of,
Oh,
of number of dumpster and.
Well, let me say this to you: if we could get it for $50 a load cheaper, and they come every Friday, times that by 52 weeks, we'd be saving somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,600 a year. So there's no harm in going out for bids.
I actually saw, Got Junk was in here the other day, and I kind of joked with the guy who was driving the truck. I said, hey, I'm going to be giving you a call, see if you can, because I thought, I didn't realize, because Got Junk and Hello Junk kind of look the same, they're trucks.
Right.
And I thought, when I pulled up, I saw this truckload sitting there, and I said, did you guys just get that from here? Is that, from the dumpster? And he goes, oh, no, because he was backed up to a unit. He goes, oh, no. And then I realized, oh, that's Got Junk. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of, the guys that come through.
Right. They're similar.
And,
right.
Then I kind of joked with him. I said, I said, hey, maybe I'm going to give you a call, see if you can give us a better deal.
As the homeowner who hired them, they're definitely more expensive.
Oh, yeah, it was at your place. It was in front of it was in front of 6202.
Yeah, I think they couldn't figure out where I lived, I think, originally. But yeah.
Right. Two trucks came.
Yeah. They had to come on 2 different days. So
well, they were there. There was 2 trucks there at the same time.
Yeah, I when they came to my property, I didn't see them out on the.
But I was joking with him that day. I said, I'm going to give you a call, see if you can give us a better price. And he's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe you give.
Anyway, all right. I think we can move on. Do we have anything else?
I would just, under old business, Larry, if we're going to each have a couple of minutes, I'd like to just throw in some conversation.
Right.
I think I went over my 15-minute manager's report.
All right. Okay, now, regarding old business, our old business that nothing's been addressed is pressure cleaning, tree removal, and concrete repairs.
Correct. And I'd like to address those very briefly.
Well,
as
okay,
a suggestion.
But I'm going to address them first. I'm going to give a suggestion, and then you can have the floor.
Okay.
Under the current circumstances that Chris just brought to my attention, because I thought we could move forward with some of these projects, but now that I know that there's 41 homeowners who didn't pay April's assessments, my recommendation that we table all 3 of these until we're sure that this coronavirus is behind us and that people are starting to pay their assessments again.
That would be my recommendation as well as.
Okay.
Yeah.
I looked into.
I'd like to make just one side suggestion. Because we have $173,000 in tree reserves, which cannot be used for anything else legally.
Yes, it can. Yes, it can.
Well, we have a difference of opinion on that. But anyway, let me finish.
We can move that money, so that's a done deal.
It's very interesting because we've been told in the past, going back to other years, that the reserves are reserved for a community-wide project and cannot be moved anywhere else. It's purely for that subject matter. That's what we've been told for the 30 years I've lived here.
Right.
But I was going to say,
we'll use it for. We'll use it for.
I only was going. All right.
Project. But
okay, I was only going to say this. I was going to throw some dates at you. Order of work. This is providing that we don't have a major issue. And the reason, just to remind everyone, that we voted no to the pressure washing being done in March or April was because we were concerned, Natalia and Chris and myself, about the very situation that Chris has just pointed out, that we have 41 homeowners who are already in a situation regarding maintenance. But aside from that, if you think about the order, my thought was that this is providing Corona is not an issue. Tree removal and concrete repair can be done anytime between May through September. And then in October, after all the dirty work has been done with the tree removal, the grinding of roots, etc., after the concrete has been repaired on 2 or 3 different ways, whatever we budgeted for, the last thing we do is pressure clean to clean up the community for the holidays, for the fall, for Thanksgiving, Christmas, etc. So to me, tree removal comes first, concrete repair next, and then in the fall, when those 2 jobs are done, we pressure clean. That's just all I'm throwing out there. But that all provides that we have the funds. Now, the tree removal is a very modest amount of money to remove those 9 trees. And we have more than enough in the FICA's reserves with $173,000. And we won't even touch that.
But we can use that any community-wide project, which includes concrete repair and pressure washing. And in my opinion, pressure washing and providing safe surfaces for residents to walk on is far more important than cutting down trees.
But it's not more important than concrete repair. And if you're going to be digging up, cutting up concrete and repairing it, pouring new concrete, after it's all done and they drive away, then you power wash that street. And then the place is pristine. You don't want to power wash first and then break up the concrete all over.
We had problems
this is where I disagree.
Okay.
Because
right, well,
anytime we do concrete repair, it's not the whole parking lot. It's a certain area.
I know. We budgeted it for 4 years. We talked about doing a 4-year project, and we need to address the budget, the money we put in the budget for this year for concrete repair. We need to get going on it. Tomorrow's May 1st. So we need to address some of these severe trip and fall. Look at Bill Burns. Look at what he got paid for tripping and falling on broken concrete. Let's get it repaired.
Mary Lou, number 1, you're not supposed to mention names. Number 2, what he got paid for was being drunk and staggering and tripped in a rut that was caused by the garbage truck, not concrete. So, and that's what he got paid for.
The concrete's broken too, and Joyce had it fixed. I'm sorry, I live there. I live 50 feet away from it.
Okay.
Joyce had it fixed. She had the concrete fixed and she had the dirt filled in.
Mary Lou.
Larry, can you hear me?
I'm not going to argue. I know. I saw his accident report. I know what he said he fell over. So
I know too.
Chris.
Yeah. So anyhow,
can you hear me?
We're not here to argue. We're here.
No, all I wanted to do was say a time. I was only thinking of a time frame that we get the trees removed, we get the concrete repaired because we budgeted money for both those, and then when they're done, we pressure clean in October when those jobs are done. That's all I'm suggesting.
Can I say?
I appreciate
hello,
it,
guys.
and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying we have to set the priorities. They're all important, but the tree removal, quite honestly, is the least important of the 3.
Can I say something? When concrete was repaired on 65th Way, all 65th Way was so filthy. Randall, you remember that. He needed clean all street because it was in Edva spent 3 days power washing 65th Way. It's one thing. Another, when was cleaning up after that storm, 2 trees, they dangerously incline and they should be removed because it's another strong wind, it can fall on somebody's head. If that tree should be removed.
Well, knock them down. I agree.
Yeah,
we have to address the tree issue. I agree. Hurricane season is upon us.
Very dangerous. It means
I agree.
Maybe we should remove first these trees because it's invite that company to remove that tree and after Randall, do you have that company? You remember we invited like brothers, some. Do you remember the company who?
All Brothers,
All
yeah.
Brothers. So they just. How long we can talk about this tree? Another tree, 2 trees now need to remove because it's very
Okay,
damaged.
we got 1 or 2 trees we can get down. We can cut them down if they're a safety issue.
But they
So
will
Randall,
not take the work. They will not
Randall,
take the
find out what 2 trees Natalia's talking about, and you and I will go look at them tomorrow.
But will be too expensive. First, they will not work partially. They will want the whole project. It means they will not come just here. They just for 2 trees. Why they will come here for 2 trees? Nobody will be agree.
No, I disagree, Natalia.
It
A
should be-
decent tree company who does only tree removal and replacement,
They will not come for 2 trees.
they will
yeah.
come and consider, because if they do a good job with those 2 trees, we'll hire them for the other 9 trees. No, I disagree. I think that
No, we should remove all these trees
we let
right
them
now.
start with 2 trees. If we're pleased with the way they grind the roots and clean it all up, cart everything away,
Mary Lou, they will
then
not come
they've got
for
the
2
next
trees.
job as well.
Mary Lou, they will not come just for 2 trees. The
I
company,
disagree.
No, they'll come.
they will
They'll
not come.
Especially
Believe
now,
me, right
with the
now,
economy,
right
with
now,
the economy
people
the
are
way it
looking
is.
for work.
Mary Lou, we have
They're
already
looking for work, I agree.
We already have experience with company who removed the tree. We was happy. It was okay. You remember that, Randall? Do you have somebody on your mind who will come in? We have All Brothers, the removing tree. I think another company was who was removing tree last time. You remember they removed this roots and all. Randall,
That was All Brothers.
Huh? Yeah.
Right.
All Brothers is who did our trees the last time.
Can you?
Right.
They trim tree, but we need cut down trees.
All right,
Will
so
they do that?
well, why don't we have just like I guess like a motion that we get Randall can get bids for the 2 trees to cut down, and we just move on.
But how much it will cost us? We need to find out how much it will cost
That's
us.
why we'll have a motion for Randall to go get bids for it. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It's 2 trees. We can get a bids. People will come out. They'll do it.
But why not remove all this tree what on the list? Why are we waiting?
Well, I would like to add those 2 to the other 9 trees, I believe it is,
Yes.
and get it all done at one time. Sometime this summer, June, July, August, before we run into, June, July, before we really
Well,
run into
Mary Lou, why
severe
not?
possibility
Why
of
not do before
hurricanes,
the hurricane?
like we had in September of 17.
We have 3 what is dead. Mary Lou, we have 3 another 3 what on the list. It's the dead tree. We need to remove 3 before hurricane because hurricane.
Oh, sure,
can
a dead
come.
tree is just waiting to blow around when a big
Exactly.
gust
We
of wind
need
hits
to
it,
remove
and
that.
it can damage people's cars. And look at Chris's photos of Heritage with the trees that went down on cars, damaging cars. We don't want that to happen here.
Okay, Manager Randall, what do you think about that? Because we have on the list trees what dead, what should be removed because it's danger. It's more than 2 trees.
We'll take a look at it.
There's several trees
Well,
that
listen.
They're dangerous. You remember that
All right.
if hurricane knock down trees where communications under the roots, you remember that some the pipes under the tree. You remember that you found that 3 or 4 trees were dangerous. If they will knock down during hurricane, they will destroy all piping under. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We should do
Yeah.
before
All right.
hurricane.
Well, listen. We have a meeting. We have a meeting in 3 weeks, and we will. Randall and I and whoever else wants to will look at the trees that are safety hazards, come up with a number, get a bid, and then we'll vote on it in 3 weeks.
Oh my God!
Well, we've also had several bids already on those 9
So
trees.
many.
We've
Oh my
gone out
God.
for bids
Well, I
on
know, but
those.
if we're only going to cut 3, we need to know what it's going to cost us for 3.
Right, but if we do 9 and 2 is 11, or we do 12, we could get a better deal perhaps.
Yes.
Per
Now,
tree.
the other-
Instead of
the
being
other
1,700 per
possibility-
tree, it might be 1,000 per
Oh,
tree.
God almighty.
Well,
help
the
me.
other possibility would be if we decide on a company we're going to use to cut them down, Maybe they can do it 3 now and the rest in July or August or whenever,
But we need before hurricane.
under the same
That's
contract.
fine. That's fine. That's fine.
But
So we'll have Randall going to bed, and then in 3 weeks, at the next meeting, we can vote on whether we do
Randall,
3 or
can you
remainder.
explain that,
Correct.
that
Oh,
tree, if we will
already-
have
we actually
hurricane,
already approved
they
a
was approved.
company and a bid. But what we can do is I can contact the company and readdress the bid and kind of talk about what we're talking about right now. And then
Right.
that company
Good,
can
good.
come up with a plan, to move forward. Maybe we'll do 2, 3 now and then 6 months down the road or whatever time
But
frame
before
down the road,
hurricane,
do the
Randall,
rest.
if we will have 5
Yeah.
category hurricane, do you remember how dangerous several ficus tree, their roots on top of that piping? Do you remember what will happen if we were not knocked down? What are you
Yep,
thinking?
I
We need to
remember.
remove
Well,
it before
what are you
hurricane.
saying?
The
Remove the
most
trees
dangerous.
now?
Now remove in May, remove dangerous tree before
Well, we
hurricane.
could do May, June, and July. May, June, and July, get rid of between 9 and 12 trees, whatever it is,
Before
9 and 13,
hurricane,
whatever
we
it
need
is.
address
Do
because
May,
it's
June,
dangerous.
July. And that way, by the time August, September rolls around, when hurricane is more likely.
If you're gonna, these trees need to be removed. We know that. We've been talking about this for more than a year.
Since
More than a
2018.
year, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we were just earlier in the meeting. You were saying you didn't want to do anything because of money, because of the virus stuff. So
No, but
they all have gone to the wayside for a moment. So now, what plan is it? Because whether you do it, if you're going to do it, you might as well do it now.
Yes.
my feeling is if we're talking trees, we have $173,000 in tree reserves. If we're talking trees, we can afford to dip into that and still leave a great deal of money there. So I'd like to see these trees done. We've been talking about
Yes,
it since
yes,
2017
I'd
or
like,
18.
Mary Lou, I'd like to see pressure washing done too. I'm willing to wait.
But we will
The
do-
trees
Well, I'd
can
like to
wait.
see
We'll
Edva.
cut the ones down.
I'd like to see Edva do pressure washing 1 or 2 days a week. Absolutely.
And
He can do the problematic sidewalks.
We will,
Ed was the do all, do everything, the guy who can do it, do this, do that, do everything else.
Well,
He's
that's
one
what
man.
that's what a maintenance man is for. And every maintenance man we had in the past, they did multiple jobs, including painting parking lines and backstops. And I know that the ones over here are in desperate need of being painted. There are multiple painting lines between cars that you can't even see the white line anymore. And then when we had all those problem trip and fall concrete areas done, painted with yellow by a company whose name isn't jumping in my head, but where the serious trip and falls were, painted it with yellow paint, so much time has gone by since we've moved on that concrete repair that the yellow lines are basically gone. They're 70%
I can still
gone.
I can still see the yellow lines all around me.
Are they solid yellow lines or bits and pieces?
Solid yellow
difference?
lines.
Well, good for you, because 50th and 51st, they're very, very worn out.
All right, here is what I would propose. I think we should, because we're going around in circles, and we have other stuff we have to get to, is that we table the 3 of them until the next meeting, which is in 3 weeks. At that time, we can assess where we're at. We'll have a much better understanding of our budget, because we'll at that point have two months into the assessments, and they'll start to age. And then, from there, we have plenty of time if we decide to do any of the 3 projects. They have plenty of time to get done before, we want them to be done. I think that's the best way of doing them, because we have to have a plan.
I'm not in favor, Chris. I'm not in favor of spending money right now with 41 people late on assessments this month. Next
Agree.
month it might be 85.
Great. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm proposing, that we wait for the next meeting and we look at where we are at in 3 weeks,
Right.
because we'll have a much better.
Yeah, we have to be prepared in order to do what we have to do, like pay our water bill, pay the electric bills, and
What would also
We can't afford to come up short money if nobody's going to be paying assessments. So.
Agreed. Also, just a side note here, what also would be useful is if Randall, if you can send me the contract that we have for the tree removal that we already have, and the pressure washing one, so that way I can start working them into some sort of plan and budget and figure out where we're going to be at. Try to get some numbers ready.
I believe the pressure cleaning was $18,000. The last bid we saw, or the best priced bid we saw, was $18,000.
17.5, and that included the sides of the buildings.
Okay, 17.5. I said 18,000. I was close. Okay, 17.5.
It's actually, you get $1,000 off of that. It's actually 16.5.
All right, it'd just be good to just.
Oh, not the one I have here. It says 18. One that I was sent like 3 months ago.
So with that, I would propose we move on from the current.
Okay, with this, Randall, question to Randall: who did that some cleanup after that last storm? Is it our landscaper? Who did it a little cleanup? Remove part of broken tree.
That was our landscaping company.
Our landscaping.
Yeah, Islander. Yeah.
But listen, why they did not remove completely that trees? Because they both broken. They just cut a little piece from one. What was pulled down. It was not blocking sidewalk. It was not blocking street. They removed that. I was working 2 hours. I was cleaning the 2 streets, park. And I removed all these branches, and they came just to remove that broken limbs. He left. They should just cut it.
Well, they're not. It's not their job to cut down a tree or remove a whole tree without the board approving it, and the property manager advising the board that the landscape company recommends we cut down that tree.
Twice right now.
They don't do that. That's not in their job description. They came very promptly.
They were here strictly
to clean up. Right. And they did a great job in my neighborhood.
But my neighborhood, they did not, because of
I mean, it reminded me, frankly, you all don't like a cut above, but in September of 17, when a cut above, or I believe it was cut above, whatever that last hurricane was, they came that next morning.
Mary Lou,
they were very good, very responsive.
Yeah.
If you go to
and this company did the same thing, and I really was impressed the other day when they came.
If you go,
but
51st
but to cut down a tree or cut back a tree, they would have to discuss that with Randall, who would then have to ask the board.
Mary Lou, in 51st Way north side, they left a lot of branches there. They did not clean up that area.
No, they came. They cleaned them up.
They did not.
They're all gone.
I just was there, Mary Lou. I was just there a couple hours ago. Took pictures from the dead tree, and it was there. Have branches. In other things,
where on 51st? Because I didn't see it.
Where canal, side of canal.
Up near the canal.
And let me finish.
Was it our property, or was it the POA's responsibility?
It's our property. It's next to 5134, that area. It's our area. What I was talking
5134?
Mary Lou.
I'll go look at it. I didn't see that.
Can I finish? That's what I was spending 2 hours cleaning.
We're going to work.
Oh my God.
All right.
Thank you. Be
we're
so
respectful.
Oh my God. Such a high culture.
We're going to table this until we determine what trees we're going to cut.
Right.
Which ones are dangerous. And then we will vote on it on the 21st of May. Now, we need to move on. We want to discuss parking decals. So, Randall sent everybody some decals to look at. My thoughts are we have to be careful what we buy, because if you make it too easy to change them, it makes it too easy to take it from one car and put it on another car. The idea of the sticker is so that we know when they change cars, they have to get another sticker. If they can just move them from car to car, they'll be using them on their friends' cars. They'll be using them on cars that they replace. And we won't know what's going on. So,
I agree.
And we got to remember, we're not buying 524. We got to buy 1,048 because we got to buy at least two per vehicle. You know,
Right.
enough for two vehicles.
Yeah, per unit.
But
Yeah.
but I have lease vehicle.
I will say that Natalia was so kind as to drop one off in my gate that she likes, and I like it too. But I have to tell you a funny story, Natalia. Both my son and I know that we have seen that parking decal before. And we're not sure if it's a neighborhood right around here or if he saw it in Palm Beach and I saw it in Palm Beach. But that, with the sailboat, that parking permit with the sailboat, we have both seen before, my son and I. So as cute as it is, I don't know, wouldn't it be better to have one that's a little more unique than that other communities have?
So I'd like to point out when
It could be custom made and have our name on it. I mean,
Well, no, we don't want our name on it. Oh, no, that's where the problem was years ago, and talk to Pam Mestre about it. That's where the problem was years ago, because that gives access when your car's parked in different places, including the airport or the train station or Publix or wherever you might be. You don't want the name of your community on that because that is an open invitation to bad guys to come and check out the community.
But
just
we
to
should
clarify,
not put permanent.
When we first looked at parking decals, in an email I sent this out, there are a lot of providers that would solve both the problem that Mary Lou had as well as the problem that Larry was addressing earlier. You can buy, 1,000 or 1,500. They would have a custom design, would not have the name of the association or anything associated. You just put whatever you want. You can put a triangle, a circle, and a square. That's unique. And the benefit of those particular ones is they have a tamper evidence. They're a tamper evidence sticker. So if they are removed from a vehicle, the sticker itself will tear. And the benefit of that is it solves Larry's problem as well, in that you cannot move them from one vehicle to the other without them being destroyed. They're not usable again. And then also the other benefit too, it would further solve Randall's other problem with regards to the guest parking. Instead of having to have people go request, new stickers from him or try to keep track of that, they can be individually numbered and barcoded. And that barcoding does not cost them anything to do. And what you do is you can walk around with a simple QR code app. You can scan the barcode and you get a number. The number doesn't have to correspond to anything, doesn't have to correspond to their unit, but it does allow us to make sure that the barcodes are not the stickers themselves have not been reproduced. It allows us to keep track of how many stickers have been issued to an individual person. And, if we wanted to, for example, arm EDVA with some, a simple QR code app, they could go make sure that people are parked in the correct places if there's ever a dispute about that. That's a simple suggestion. There's a lot of companies that mass manufacture them. One of them, the one I linked to, I believe, is $400 to $500 to do it. I think that might be the way of doing it. Because I think the tamper evidency is something that I think would be very useful, and I agree with Mary Lou in the fact that it's picking one that's off the shelf in which we don't have a say in its design is very likely to lead to something where people can buy other copies of that same sticker, right? And again, the sticker design, we don't have to put has our association name on it, our colors, our logo. Just make 3 unique things. We can make a triangle. It doesn't have to make any sense to anybody. It could be a little wave. It could be a sunrise. It could be anything. But as long as we were the ones supplying that design, which would take 2 seconds to do, it prevents anyone from basically reproducing our design.
But it should not be permanent. It should not be permanent.
And
because
I think it should be a bright color so that they're easy to see.
Yeah.
Yep.
But what about if it's permanent? I have lease car and I cannot attach anything.
Same provider can not only can they make a sticker version, they also sell a tamper evidence hang tag. So you hang it like a hang tag.
How we can remove it? Is it permanent? Please, somebody can answer question. Is it permanently attached? Because I have lease car, I cannot attach anything to my vehicle.
Right. So you would use the hang tag version, not the sticker.
It would be hanging. It wouldn't be attached.
Well, first of all, Natalia, you're leasing the vehicle. You can attach anything you want to it as long as you take it off before you turn it in.
If I can take, but it's permanent. How you can take off without damaging the glass?
Because it's permanent in the sense that if you remove,
When you're trading,
It's just sticky. It's just sticky. Warm water and a sponge will clean it off.
yeah. And first of all, when you're trading the car in, you take it off. If it gets damaged, we'll issue you another one.
Okay.
right. The point.
Well, we'd have to. Every time somebody sells a car, trades a car, whatever,
Right.
they're entitled to a second sticker.
Right.
Yeah. And they're not that expensive.
So that's why
if
we
you
have to
buy-
order more than 1,000 of them. We have to order like 1,500 of them.
But
Yeah.
barcode.
So we have them in stock.
Barcode you can make just Xerox copy of barcode. You put on top. You can scan it the same things like our original sticker. So barcode. You can reproduce.
That's not the point. The stick. It's the tamper evident part that stops people from copying it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
a hologram. It's similar.
Yeah,
to,
I think you have a good idea, Chris. I think we need those tamper-proof stickers.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think Randall of the supplier that I was using when I wrote the quote down the email. There are many that make them that way. I know they've been used with pretty good results.
Okay. Let order. Do we need vote for that or not?
I think we should
Well,
go.
we have to decide on which one we're going with first and all agree on it.
Well, the board needs to make a decision on what. Number one, we have to make a decision. Are we going to go to a sticker system?
Right. And how much
Yeah,
are they going to cost?
Well, they're going to cost you $600, $1,500. But
More than that, maybe.
I would say
but they're not that expensive.
you're under.
So I make a motion that we vote on it as a board. Do we want to go to a sticker system to identify residents' vehicles? Anybody second the motion?
Yes, I can second. Natalia second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
I'm in favor.
Aye.
Okay.
Joe, are you
Joe,
in favor?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you vote?
No, I haven't voted yet. I am concerned about the fact that these stickers will come off the vehicles because I do have a leased vehicle and I don't want to have a problem getting them off.
The stickers will come off. The only thing is when you take them off, the sticker itself will cut in half. So you won't be able to put it on a new vehicle. Does that make sense?
Right.
They also
I'm not worried about it being half. I'm worried about it having a residue that I can't get off the vehicle that's going to be charged for.
No.
No, you take the car and have it detailed before you turn it in and they'll clean it up for you.
Well, Mary Lou, spend your money the way you want it.
if
I don't want to spend any
No.
of my money.
If I can
Hey, Joe,
They
let
come
me speak
right
to
off.
Joe's. Let me speak to Joe's concern. Any glue or residue that the sticker leaves, there's a product called Goo Gone. It's an orange-based solvent.
I have it.
You put it on a rag, it'll wipe it right off.
That's what I said before. Take a soft sponge and it comes right off in warm water.
But you put inside or outside the
And,
vehicle? Because before we had inside the vehicle.
I don't know, but there was a motion on the table, and it was seconded, and it was actually passed.
Passed already, yes.
Right, to go that we are in favor of a sticker system, but we haven't picked the sticker yet. Just that we're in favor of a sticker system.
I think one of the
Okay.
things, again, to reiterate, is the same manufacturer also makes a hang tag version of the same thing. We can get those as well, and those costs are about the same. And if we wanted to, we can have people have their choice, or we can when we. I think
Well,
the prudent thing to do would be
the only
Sticker
when we come
better.
back in 3
Chris-
weeks, we can just vote on which particular provider and what type.
But sticker better.
well, Chris, I don't like the hang tags because they can be moved from vehicle to vehicle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, I agree.
So it's going to be a sticker,
Okay.
and it can be
And
put
if
on
someone
the
tries to
inside.
tear it off, they don't succeed. It crumbles.
Right.
Right. So
The glue
if Chris,
comes off easily.
Who do we
We've
go
already-
to get a replacement?
You would go to Randall to get a replacement.
The association will provide a replacement when you change your vehicle.
Of course.
Okay.
We need proof that vehicle was changed, not because somebody say I changed the vehicle and take several of
They have to
stickers.
give us the new make, model, color of the new car.
Yeah.
Just like they'll have on file with this sticker system. We have to.
That
We have
way
to.
we know. That way
They
we
also have
know
to
who
provide
belongs here and who doesn't.
registration for the photo.
Yeah.
Just like right now, all owners and tenants have to provide copies of their registration. If they get
Exactly.
a new car, they with their new registration, and we're good.
And they get a new sticker. Period. Right.
Who do we file that with, Randall?
That can be filed with me.
Yeah, that's done through the HOA.
I requested to file that on any car that I've had here in Florida over 35 years. I've never had a request to have to file a
Well,
registration.
that's poor
Other than
management.
the fact that my car is properly tagged and has a current Florida license.
That's
Well-
funny, Joe, because both of my cars are on file with the association. Make, model, color, license plate numbers.
I had to do when I bought the house here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Joe, this is why
Yeah.
we're going to stickers, because no, not pointing fingers, but you don't do it and I don't do it and nobody does it. So when we change cars,
Yeah, we don't do anything here.
unless somebody knows that they're our car, the association has no clue if we change cars.
Yes.
But
We
what do we
need
do
to
when
know when people.
Larry, what do I do when I bring my car in and it gets in for an extended repair and I have a loaner vehicle, which I'm provided by the dealer?
Well, you're only going to have that for a day or two. You're not going to have it for a month.
No, I could have it as much as a week.
All you do is tell Randall. All you do is send an email to Randall. My car's going in for a week, I'm going to have a rental car. Or my car's going in for a month, I'm going to have a rental car. That's all, and it's a done deal. Randall makes a note of it, and there's no issue.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Communication.
So-
Communicate.
So anyhow, my suggestion now is, so that we can leave a little bit of time if there's a guest on the call, that they can speak. And the thing that I'm going to suggest is that Chris sends us or Randall a copy of what he likes. Randall can see that we all get it, and we don't have to wait to the next meeting to approve
Exactly,
the
yeah.
design. We've already approved to do it.
Yes.
We need to know the pricing, though. We need to know the
Pricing,
cost
Mary,
before.
Mary Lou,
It's
number
cheap,
one, it's
yeah.
going to be way under $5,000, which doesn't require a board vote on pricing. As long as
Okay.
we get 3 bids on that sticker, that's all we need.
Well, I know, but we're just taking a conservative approach right now. So with the coronavirus, so I was just thinking we should also be aware of how much this is going to cost, because we are being a little conservative right now in our spending.
Okay, we'll make sure everybody knows the pricing.
Yeah, we need
Good.
those project as soon
Roughly
as
about
Okay, so-
$450.
Yeah, it's peanuts in the overall scheme of things. So, Chris, are you willing to do that?
Yeah, I'll send Randall the ones I have. I think Randall should probably have the final say, considering he's going to be the one looking at it and using it. I think that makes more sense.
we can put Chris' picture
Okay.
on that. Chris,
That
we
I had
can
on
put your
the ones
picture.
that I've seen.
All right.
The
Very good.
ones that I-
And
Also,
And
we
I
have to
think-
we have to decide or vote or all agree on where they're going to be attached to the car. So they're all in the same
Well,
place.
In the driver's
I
side
think
and
that
back
most
driver's side.
most communities put them up near the mirror on the front windshield.
Yes, but there's a mixed feelings about that it can blur your vision, can interfere with your vision, and sometimes they're on the driver's back window or the rear window down on the bottom. I mean, if you look at my friends who have PGA resort stickers or, whatever,
Well,
So I think we have to determine where we're going to put them.
They shouldn't be on the front windshield at all.
What?
On the rear, on either the right rear or the left rear corner panel of the rear window, not on the front windshield.
Yes, on
I agree. They should not be on the front windshield. I agree.
Well, I disagree, but that's okay. We'll vote on it because if the mirror doesn't block your vision, the sticker's not going to block your vision because it's going to be behind the mirror.
But we already have...
The mirror is flexible. It can be moved left, right, up and down.
Guys,
the sticker can't be.
Stop talking. Let somebody else say something. You just talking. Last time when we had the stickers, it was on driver's side, on the rear window or driver's side. It was inside the car. It was some type
That's
of
where our old
plastic
pass used
was
to be.
sticky.
That's right.
All right. So what do you do with vehicles that have dark tinted glass on the rear windows like mine?
Do you use on top or you put inside?
Then-
What kind we
Then you
use?
have a problem. I have tinted windows all over my car.
So do I.
Your front window isn't tinted.
But you
My front window is tinted as well as my side panel windows as well as my rear.
but where
So
you
am I.
decide to put?
Joe, you have a tint on the top of your windshield. Your whole windshield is not tinted.
But
The front windshield, oh, you're right, it's not. But
Will
the
you put
sides are
inside?
and the rear are.
will you
but
put
you can
inside
see
or
That's
outside?
why.
guys?
That's why I suggest it go behind the mirror on the front window.
Okay, well, listen, we can talk about this. Guys, it's after 9 p.m. It's after
Right.
9. The meeting should be over. If we still have anyone who's been kind enough to hang in, let them speak and let's say good night. It's after 9 p.m.
All right, so
I agree.
I'd like to make a motion that we get the sample and check it to see the visibility through the rear windshield.
But will be
Good idea.
This way we all know that it's there and we can see it. And I'm sure you can see it in yours if I could see it in mine, Larry.
But just cut piece of
Well-
paper. Make it.
It won't be.
tracing.
You won't be able to see it from across the parking lot. I'll tell you that. You're going to have to get close to see it on a dark tinted window.
Well, that's what
Okay,
Edva and Randall will have to do.
Doing anyway.
We'll cross that bridge later. I'm going to open the meeting up to anybody who might have stuck in there long enough to have a question.
there's two people. I'll just unmute them one at a time here. All right, so I'll let Stefan go first.
All right, so
He's not there right now.
Okay, all right. I'll let. Okay, so double time.
It's another Steve. That's Steven as well.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, hi guys.
Hello?
Thanks for hanging in there. I'm a resident. I've owned the unit since 1996, and over the years I decided to rent it out and incorporated it as an LLC. And the last couple of years I've been renting it, and I just found the whole system is cumbersome for the tenant application system. And I'm a tennis director over here at Riverwalk, and I moved in with my girlfriend. That's why I decided to rent it out. And, you know, I'm jogging Okeechobee, the location. I'm just across town. So, anyway, I've got some suggestions to streamline the tenant process. But first of all, I had a question about your contact information. Is that available, like emails? Because I went to the property manager, and he said he couldn't release them. Then I went to the bulletin boards, and just had your names. And I really would have rather submitted a lot of this to you so you could sort of peruse it before. Because it's a lot. And at the end of the meeting, I have about 5 points. I can go bullet point them real quick. But is there a way to get HOA contact information?
Yeah, so the best way to reach out to us is via the Pay HOA site. So when you go into Pay HOA, there's a section where you can send the association notes.
Okay. And that goes to you all on the board, or does that go to the property
It'll
manager?
get forwarded to Randall first, so it'll go to the property manager first, and then if there's something for the board, it can be forwarded to us.
Okay.
Or you can email Randall, manager@randallanderson.com.
Okay, got it. Thank you for that. Okay. That's great. Okay, basically, I just had some suggestions to improve the system. I just recently had a prospective tenant that ended up canceling her lease that started October 1st. And she had gone through the whole process. She did all the background checks, paid everything, all the fees, application, security deposit, and up until the final interview. And I'd just like to, the basic things I'd like to go over are the background checks, and then the HOA requiring an executable contract prior to screening the tenant. And then the third thing is requirement that the tenant app be delivered in person, which is not that big a deal, but I think it's worth discussing. I'd like your feedback on that. And the HOA record keeping is the fourth thing, and then timely processing of all the tenant applications. So the first thing is the background checks by owners with approved screening company. Currently, I have to screen before the HOA screens because I can't just send an executable contract to the HOA and then let them do their background check and tell me if the person's good or bad. I have to know. So that's putting 2 screenings on the tenant, which is cumbersome and it costs money. I would rather have an HOA approved screening company given to me. That way I can screen them all in advance. Because this last screening I did, the HOA did it, but I submitted the information on the tenant, and it was only after 2 weeks later that she got the email from the HOA requesting that she participate. So there was a big delay there, and it was very frustrating for her because she'd like to tie up the loose ends and get it all worked out before her contract, in this case October 1st. Even though it's 5 months away, these things have to be taken. People move on to another unit. So anyway, I was wondering if that could be discussed among the board at some point. So, and maybe not tonight if you don't. I just want to run these things by you. And I will email all these things to you through Randall if you'd like. The second thing, I think was the same thing, the executable contract. Does everyone sort of agree that tying me into a contractual relationship with somebody prior to the background check being done is not, seems absurd on its face. Even if the language is inserted into the contract that says subject to HOA approval, it's a wasted step for an owner because it requires 2 screenings. It requires me and the tenant to do notarization and time to go spend money on notaries, and just so they can, then after the fact do a background check. It just doesn't seem right. I'd rather do the background check up front with an approved HOA screening company. So if anyone agrees with that. Okay. And then the HOA requires the app delivered in person, which I was wondering why not certified mail. Sometimes people aren't in town. And delivering documents still result in the loss of info by the HOA. I had a recent security deposit that was unaccountable. And earlier in the meeting, you said people didn't pay security deposits. I did. I had to go access my bank account records and produce copies of the cash check, resubmit it to the HOA, and finally got credit to my account. And my unit was 6634 way, and there was some discrepancy was posted to possibly 6614 way. And I'm not sure what all happened there, how it got misplaced, but that was a problem. So the record keeping, let's see.
Yeah, that deposit, as you recall, I told you last year, the other management company deposited in a different account than where they were supposed to. And then it was actually through our new accounting company is the one, they did the research and found it.
Well, I'm glad. I think you did a great job there. I appreciate your effort tracking that down. I initially had to go and produce the evidence myself, and I think it speaks to the management companies not being forthcoming with all the files when the relationship is terminated and declined. Because my current tenant, there was no record with Sandwood Lake South of my current tenant. I resubmitted that at the request, everything, registration, car. But that's a big gap, and there's absolutely no record of this gentleman. So I re-forwarded the email with all his information, and also a copy of the check for the $1,000 security deposit. So I'm trying to comply with all these things, but the HOA is missing information, these big gaps. So I don't know if we need to do electronic backups or have current backups. But that was a real burden on me to go out and do all these other resubmitting things. So basically, that's that. And also just the timely processing applications. Like I said, my tenant was waiting for 20 days. Finally got the invitation, and then had to do the community. I'm sorry, she did the final interview call and to line it up, and it basically. And I don't blame Anderson for this because he's got to follow the letter of the application, which states it must be done in person, but show some latitude, if the board could give him some latitude to do a video call. And I think he's perfectly capable of doing a video call. And he's women 65 or has congestive heart failure. We have a pandemic. And things are tough enough in society right now to require people. If the board would just consider doing a video call in lieu of an in-person call, especially during these times, I would appreciate that, because that really was the final straw with her. She wrote me an email, and she just said that the whole process, oh God, let's see. She just got exasperated with the whole process, and she said, they wanted to schedule the interview in September, and I know we have a 30-day limit to get these things done. I didn't understand the September scheduling, but then I think she hung up when he offered to do it earlier, but there wasn't a discussion at the time. But these things have to be done quickly. These people are going to move on, and I lost a 6-month lease, and now, the HOA's lost revenue for that. Now, I can mitigate my losses and still try and find a tenant. I've got 5 months. But it's just going through the whole process and, coming up short on the very final thing. If a video call could be implemented, I would appreciate that. I think a lot of people would. It's in person, especially at this time in our country.
Okay. Sir, may I just jump in, please? Because each homeowner is allowed 3 minutes, and we've respected you and allowed you a great deal more than 3 minutes. And I think that since we've recorded this meeting, we will have all of your comments and observations, be able to listen to them, and then we can get back to you, either Larry or Randall or whomever, needs to address your concerns and your comments and everything.
Well, I'm glad my 2 hours bought me 3 minutes, so thank you very much.
Well, Mary Lou, quite honestly, he waited a lot longer than he should have had to also, so we deserve to give him
normally our meetings are from 7 to 9, normally,
right.
But these are unusual times.
Right.
And since it's now going on 9:20, I think we should call it a night.
We'll move on. Yeah. Thank you, folks. Have a great night.
No, our pleasure, sir. Thank you for attending.
You're welcome.
We have one more homeowner. If Stefan wants to, I know he was there a second ago. I don't know if
okay, I'm going to have to bow out.
Good night, Mary Lou.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I would love to stay on longer, but I've got to bow out, and I'll hear whatever's left with Natalia or Randall's recordings. Take care, guys. Good meeting.
Okay.
Good night.
Are you adjourned the meeting?
I do have one last item that I just wanted to quickly bring up, which is in Rawson's opinions to the board. It would be good if he could get into the habit of start referencing the actual statutes he's referring to, which he doesn't do currently.
I could recall seeing statutes referred to in that.
Yeah, he refers
to it again.
The problem is he refers to the statutes, but he doesn't say which statute he's talking about. That's the problem.
Well, he's talking about, if he refers to them, he's telling you that both of them apply.
Right.
If he puts more than one, they both apply.
Right, but he doesn't say. But the point is, like he'll say something like along the lines of, that we see in statute, but he doesn't say which particular statute or lawsuit he's referring to, and that would be
okay.
Yeah, it would be nice if in his opinions to the board, he can start writing out which cases he's actually talking about, because he just references.
Okay, I'll talk to him about it.
I think Stefan is back if he wants to. It was a second ago. If not,
can you hear me?
Yep.
No. Can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, we can hear you.
Yes.
Oh, okay. The bulletin board at 52nd Way, the glass is all cloudy, needs to be replaced. So when you put notices up there, it's difficult for people to read them. And to me, it's just a simple replacement. Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely heard you. I don't know much about those boards or how they're made or how they're constructed or anything about them.
It's
Randy, that's
Randall knows.
very
Yeah, I sent Rick an email, so, but I don't know if you guys.
Okay, now, does the glass actually need replaced, or does it get moisture in it and it becomes foggy? Because a lot of them, it should just need a new rubber seal.
Yeah, Larry, it needs to be replaced because I looked at others in the community because I had to go to another bulletin board, to read about this meeting and to get the info on it. It's just all faded out and yellow, and it's like reading without your glasses. It's very blurry.
Okay. All right. Well, Randall can order a new piece of glass. He'll measure it.